I am very much a newbie when it comes to Linda Toni Gran and her talents as a European vocalist, or Swedish specifically. Mortimia was very much a first introduction. I covered Mortimia, for those who don't know, is a Norwegian gothic metal group, or one man really. It's a one-man show. But he recently did a collaboration a couple weeks ago with Linda Toni Gran, I believe, who's been affiliated. From what I could see, I didn't get the best sense of a background on her, other than she's a Swedish vocalist, but she is affiliated with this group, Fall of a CIPHER. And so I figured, based on, I figured already originally, because, I've spoken before, a large part of my focus in regard to music coverage on this channel happens to be European artists. I like spotlighting talent that perhaps is unknown, especially within my social circles. That's sort of how I judge, artists in regard to their visibility, right? How many people know about them based on my friends group? So far, nobody that I listen to in the European market has really been a familiar name for any of them. I'm like, well, okay, obviously I'm the one who finds the talent easier than you guys do. Because, I come across some really beautiful European artists. Linda Toni Gran, I would say that was a very good first introduction with her recent collaboration with Mortimia. Very talented vocalist, in fact, a much softer edge from maybe some of the other artists I'm familiar with, although the track was much harsher in comparison to Mortimia's previous collaboration, which I also covered, and which was sort of the gateway track to covering Forever and Beyond. That was with Zora Koch of Blackbriar for What Else Is There. Of course, another very talented female artist as well from Europe. Let's look at Fall of a CIPHER, though. Like I said, Linda's name is affiliated with this group, and I figured I would check in some of her other endeavors and, listen to more of her voice pronounced in some of her work. So we're going to start with The Rising. I've queued up 2 tracks for different videos. But this one's going to be themed around The Rising. Again, early days. But I like to use, it's funny how many times I come across videos within the European market, and they're sort of gateways to other artists, right? I use one of okay, let's say with Mortimia, Zola Koch being a Blackbriar fan, that was the introduction point for me to come across, his work, and then for Linda Toni Gran, it was Mortimia that provided the gateway. So now I'm sort of going down the cycle of, okay, who's connecting who here? I don't know. Maybe Fall of a CIPHER will do a collaboration at some point with another artist. And I'll be okay, here's another talented artist over there. I love how my playlist, though, of European artists is quickly building. So let's go ahead and take a look at Fall of a CIPHER's The Rising. Of course, I'm going to queue up the video, and I will also... here's another case. Usually I superimpose the lyrics for ease of access for you if you want to read along with the track and what the narrative and the message of the piece is, but in this case the lyrics have been provided for you, so it saves me some time in regard to getting the video up. Alright, I appreciate that. Here we go. Bit of an electronic vibe, okay. Let's see how it works for me. This is like Dead by April energy. I like it. Oh, it really has that sound too. Okay, she's got a good range. It was a little more subdued on Mortimia's collaboration of her. Wow. I guess it can get a bit harsher in pitch. I like it though. Just a good fit metal. Wow. Can't say I've come across a voice like hers yet in the range. I thought Zora could get a high, climb, Zora Koch or Blackbriar, but... Linda Toni Gran is quite the competitor. It impresses me a lot of the artists I find, how can you sustain that note? I'd lose my voice at that point. I know I'm a guy, but I'm envious of a talent. I wonder if she can get higher than that. I mean, that's already quite the climb. I'd be impressed if she could. I like that scratchier aspect, that strain fits really well with the metal edge, and it still feels natural. Nice ending, too. Get back that quicker pace. It's a good wrap-up. Good delivery. I'm really impressed. Again, like I said, I'm the one who comes across the really good groups. I'm, again, comparing myself to my social circle. And, there's groups that I have a similar interest to many of my peers, but I'm the one who comes across the European stuff, and I'm continually amazed at what I find. I fought based on Mortemia's collaboration, like I said. For that song, it was two different styles. It was Mortemia, for example, who was blending in the harsher stuff with more of like a screamo type sound. But then you had Linda Blair, or why do I keep saying Linda Blair? Linda Tony Grahn, that's what I mean. Her sections coming in, and then the tune would sort of drop up again with more aggressive metal energy for a more subdued sound. And I guess you can kind of hear perhaps where her voice could climb in that song, but it was much more of like a softer energy. Her voice can really climb, can't it? This is impressive range. I mean, again, I've spoken for a while, in regard to European artists and lead female vocal singers. For example, like I said, Zorla Kalk of Blackbriar. I mean, she's got an impressive range, too. I mean, go listen to, for example, if you've not heard it before, Deadly Diminuendo, and you can hear her voice really climb there. Same thing I would say of Uli Perhonen, another favorite of mine, or Uli Perhonen, let me get the pronunciation right, from Snow White Blood, who's, I came across, again, like I said, it's sort of a gateway with European artists. With Blackbriar, that's what introduced me to Uli Perhonen and Snow White Blood, and, with, in this case, Zora, that introduced me to Mortemia, and then, from Mortemia, I got to be introduced to Linda Tony Grahn, and now we're at Fall of a CIPHER. Again, it's just, all these doors I'm finding, it's really interesting, all the interconnectivity, but among all the artists I've mentioned, and Linda Tony Grahn is included in that, their range, cheapers. It's impressive. Again, I wonder, based on listening to this track, if she can get higher than she was presenting here. I mean, again, it feels like she's sort of at that teetering edge, because you can kind of hear her voice start to strain in like some of the chorus sections. I wonder, though, if she can go beyond that. Obviously, she's putting effort into her talents, and I'm impressed. And the tune to, blend along with that, very Dead by April. Another favorite of mine, they're Swedish, I believe. They've been around for several years. They're primarily a metal group that involves electronic sounds into their music. And I'm normally hesitant in comparison with other genres to electronic. Sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. Let's say in the case of American music, let's say Starset, for example, and much of the stuff actually that Dustin Bates has done, other than that, let's say Starset and MNQN, those are exceptions. But what I found along the territory of electronic music, what kind of registers sort of is like EDM, doesn't really interest me. It depends on the group, and it depends on the overall effectiveness of the tracks. Knives, another exception. That's a spinoff of Demon Hunter, a very well-known Christian metal group from America. Dead by April, though, is the European version, and this really sounds a lot like their style to me, especially in the introduction. I mean, it sort of maps along the same pacing, the same instrument styles. It really felt like this Fall of a CIPHER was following in their vein quite a bit. But, I mean, they've got talented vocalists too, Pontus Hjelm, and I always forget the name of the new guy, the new singer they brought, or screamer they brought on. But, not Christoph, I might have that wrong. Anyway, I'll find out. I'll remember someday. But Linda, Tony, Gron, that's an impressive range. I mean, Fall of a Cypher isn't just a talented metal group. They've got a very talented lead vocalist to boot. I'm impressed, and I want to hear more from them. And again, in the future, I will. And perhaps maybe some of their newer efforts, if they ever release anything else. Maybe they released something recently. I'm just not noticing it at the moment. But I'm really taken aback by that. Very impressive. What are your guys' thoughts with Fall of a Cypher? Maybe for many of you, this was a first introduction. Maybe some of you know who this group is. And maybe you know even more than that who Linda Tony Gron is, and you're familiarized with her talents and previous work. Feel free to let me know what angle you come from down below and your overall thoughts on the track. But I'm definitely engaged to look at some of their new stuff. Or new stuff to me at the very least. I forget exactly when the release dates came out for the videos because, it was a very recent introduction with Mortemia. So, I mean, I could be, way behind on this. But I did look for ever endeavors to best introduce myself to Linda Tony Gron as an artist, and I'm very impressed with The Rising. That's a good introduction to their talents. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.